For those just starting out, to those who built their reputation. In the detail industry, navigating the course is a daily grind. This is Play-by-Play, with industry professionals tackling topics and offering tips to help improve your game plan. Now, here's your Play-by-Play.
Everybody, we are back with another Play-by-Play, and I'll tell you, this is a much better scene than our typical podcast backdrop. We are in one of the coolest, probably the coolest man caves, garages around. And Ryan, what you think?
I mean, this is about the. You ever walked into a magazine?
Yeah.
This is exactly
I've
what
never
the
walked
feel
into
like.
a magazine.
Oh
no.
man, if you ever did, this is exactly what it would feel like. Everything it's perfect. Everything.
It is. And we got Tony Hanna here. You are the detailer for the cars around here. You also own a business where you're doing mobile detailing as well. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you also are hosting a training this weekend with Angel Wax, and y'all got a lot of stuff going on. And man, I'm telling you, I'm just still in awe at this place. This is I know that some of my employees around here are probably jealous that you get to come work here every day.
Oh, they turned in applications.
We don't even have windows. Yeah, we don't have windows in our office.
Hey, but those are coming, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Absolutely.
Actually, Brooke painted her own window. She just painted it
Did
on the
she
wall.
really?
Yeah,
That's
so
hilarious. I like that idea. Well, more than just having Tony in, he's actually going to be doing our first live hacker hacks. So this is going to be really exciting.
It's really cool, and so this business concept mindset is different than most, and it plays right into our conversation about the R word. We're not going to say it. We're not going to say it. So the R word, that's what we're going to refer to that as, and it's not Ryan. But no, this business model where you've come in here and you're in this market where it's these high-end and custom cars, where it probably doesn't fluctuate near as much as maybe when the economy starts to slow, that the minivans or the people that are day-to-day, week-to-week are not getting as details as much. I mean, does that play into your role here, or you notice that difference?
Yes, I think that we're in a little bit of a bubble here.
Mm-hmm.
The median income is a little bit higher. So this market,
Sure.
The average is about $100,000 to $125,000 for
Sure.
a family of two, family of three. So it's a little bit more affluent. We don't seem to see the slowdowns that we see in other parts of the economy in the U.S. when things happen.
Of course,
It doesn't mean we're shielded.
Yeah.
But we also, I make it a point not to give up the soccer mom vans. Absolutely. And the interior details are extremely important.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think most detail, that kind of lays the foundation of a detail shop. Usually you cut your teeth in the interiors, and that's where you learn and build, and then you this is like the end goal for a lot of guys in the detailing industry, is to be in a shop like this or to own a shop like this.
Right.
It's just incredible. And
the fact that you don't, to say, okay, now I'm just doing these, so
Right.
I'm not even going to worry about the Civic.
yeah, how do you go from one of these to, they pull up and the car's trash and there's gum stuck in the carpet, and all, you're like, man, you got to be kidding me today. Like, there's got to be a difference.
There is, but I think you're gonna get what you attract, and
Sure.
so I think if you're giving to your community, if you're serving your community, if you're being a good steward in your community and your business is a part of it, and you make yourself known and you have a good work ethic, then that hard work's going to transition into getting the type of clientele that you want.
Well, it does. And this type of market, these guys and girls have obviously worked a lot to get to where they are, and they're not looking to just hand it out. So they want to make sure that the people that they're trusting in this with their stuff, that they're working hard too, and they can relate to that. I know Mr. Jimmy, that owns the shop, and he, definitely a hard worker, definitely like the definition of that. So it's cool. But so if I'm a detailer and I'm wanting to get into this kind of market, how did you find yourself here? Is this something like the end goal? Definitely want to be working on the classics and the customs and all, or is it just kind of came into it?
Well, of course, I think anybody who's a car person is you want to work on the cool stuff.
Right.
But it's not all cool stuff. It's just that's the things that we put in our marketing.
Mm-hmm.
We want to attract that.
That's right.
Because we enjoy doing it. We're car people. But I never will leave that base of the everyday detail.
Sure.
I'm always going to take care of that. But I just think that just put in your hard work and you're going to get there.
Right.
That's what it really comes down to.
Did something bring you to this area specifically that, you know, are you from here or?
So my family has been in Orange Beach since 1950.
Oh, okay.
I used to run these roads during the summers. My grandparents lived here. I used to run these roads when they were dirt.
Right.
Wow, it changed a lot.
Yes.
A few more buildings.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
Yeah.
But yeah, we go way back here. I came to the area because I lost my business. It fell out during the pandemic, and I was in California.
Okay.
So it was one of those situations where I went through a tremendous amount of loss, but I saw all the blessings in it.
Of course.
I came to Alabama because Alabama was open.
Right.
And I restarted. And then 3 weeks after I restarted, I got hit by Hurricane Sally. So that was the biggest blessing because I was able to give to my community. So there was no work.
Sure.
And so I just went back to the core value that I set up for the business to begin with was to serve the community. So I just volunteered.
Sure.
Yeah. And, you know, that's incredible. And I do believe in, like, you plant the seed and you get to reap later. And it's, that right there is exactly what you're doing. When you're doing those things, you know, giving out, even when you have nothing to give, if you can continue, you know, providing all you can, it always comes back. And you don't do it looking for that,
Right.
but you do it knowing that you'll be taken care of down the road. One thing that's special to me, I joined a Facebook group that I think you run, maybe it's but it's a Christian based detailing group, right?
Spark.
Spark, and you may not have known about it. And anyways, and it's so inspirational and motivational. You've been very open about your spirituality. Can you tell us, like, what may have led into that and you know, kind of brought you to that?
Yes.
Okay.
100% loss.
Mm-hmm.
So when you experience loss, you have a choice to make.
Mm-hmm.
It gets you to a place where you have to really examine who you are and what your core values are. When everything is that is burdensome is taken away from you, and then you're piled on with all these problems, you can either wallow in pity and your problems, or you can figure out a way through it. But for me, that's when God really made his presence known in my life and said, wow, you need to start doing the right things. And I thought I had it figured out, and I thought I was serving God. And then I got hit with some more loss, and he had to break me down and take me to a place that he could work in my life, and that I would accept it.
Yeah, sure.
And believe in it. And I needed to trust in the Lord. So that's how that all happened.
That's beautiful, man. That's amazing.
It is.
And it's really good to see that. And the fact you have a group that actually is, you know, bringing that up. I know we've seen the detail groups here lately. There's been a bit of whatever you want to call it.
The groups are what they are. Yeah. It's just, they're always so, there's always such negative stuff going on. It seems everybody's kind of at each other, and to have your group to where it's just, you know, it's nice to see the difference, you know.
Well, we should be lifting each other up.
100%.
Exactly.
You know? Absolutely.
Exactly.
And that's, I mean, we've never been brand loyal to any of our, you know, the different ceramic coating companies.
We love them all.
We do. I mean, I'll send somebody over to your Able or Road FS if I don't feel like our software is the one for them, you know. So we definitely have tried to steer that middle ground where we're you know, falling into that, but it's hard. I see a lot of guys fall to it, and you know, and it's just tough to watch that. It takes so much away from the actual, you know, the business and bringing each other up.
Sure.
Yeah, and I think that's easy to do, is kind of fall trap to that. But it's harder to take the, you know, that high road, or that, because even us, I mean, so even in our meetings, sometimes you're like, you know, they're doing this, you know, it's software related. Like, we see they made this move, or they made this move. We see it. I mean, we're not,
right.
You know, we don't come through with blinders on. We talk about, we pay attention to ourselves, and we're on competition. Yeah, that sounds great until your Able drops a feature on us. We're like, what the hell? We should have done that.
Mobile Tech RX, nice commercial.
Road FS has got a good ad running. So, like, you know, we're not, you know, completely, naive and think that, but you still focus on yourself. And the detailing guys, they just, in these groups, they make these posts, they bash each other, and I'm like, man, you just gotta, you know, advertise to your customer base, advertise to your market, don't set yourself up for these guys to
And
just
let's
rip you
be
apart.
honest, Dustin, you have a shop full of detailers. How many of those detailers that are actually detailing every day are in those groups?
They're not.
None of them.
They're
are.
not. No.
You know, so you got it's business owners that they might have a little
It
bit.
is.
Yeah,
It is. But it's a pride thing. You want to show off, and like detailers want to show other detailers their work and what they're working on.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
if I had this in my shop, I'd be showing it every day. So that's where it starts, and then it just. But if you guys could take a moment and just try to find some positive out there, to communicate about it, it'd be great. But
help out. That's what it boils down to. Now, you haven't been detailing forever, right? You were actually a chef, a trained chef. Is that accurate to say?
Well, so I didn't go to culinary school. I didn't take the traditional route.
Okay.
So the same route that I took in detailing, I took in the culinary world. So I started at the very bottom. I started as a dishwasher, and just over a period of years, worked my way up. But the way I got into detailing was way back in 2000. A guy named Nick Catarano had a little shop. We got to know each other. He taught me how to wet sand, how to buff with a rotary. It was back in the dusty days of 3M compounds.
Oh, yeah.
Now, he does SEMA cars, right?
No, this is a whole different guy.
Okay.
He's out of the detailing world now. But he came out of Miami, and and we met in Tennessee, and he kind of walked me through the processes, and he showed me some old school ways and what was going on then. But we worked banquets and we worked restaurants and bars and whatever at night. So we detailed during the day and cars, boats, yachts, whatever.
Right.
And then at night we were just hustling and grinding. So it's like, okay, well, let's go work a party or a banquet or
that's good money too.
Do what you gotta do.
Bartending, it's something like that, or the Mardi Gras balls. You know, it's a tough gig. It's a hard work.
Yeah, so you do these things to pay the bills, and so that's where you cut your teeth, especially in the detailing. Was in that era, and it's funny, you mentioned wet sanding and rotary polishing and on, which was so common. Of course, the clear coats were a little thicker then, and paint was in a little better, as far as workable shape then. But these are things that guys, are very scared of now, rightfully so in some of the newer vehicles. But this is what we grabbed up and did, to get. We had rotary polishers before we even would touch a DA. As a matter of fact, I remember would not use a DA for a while because the rotary would just cut so fast, and you learn how to finish down with it, and it's a lot easier where a DA stalls at times. But now those processes have been perfected. But so you literally learn from the ground up. Yeah.
Yes, and I left the business for a while.
Did you?
Came back to it. I worked my way up to an executive chef when I was out in California.
Wow.
And then it was August of 2017. I walked in at 9:00 in the morning, and my boss wasn't in the back of the kitchen, and he came out of the dining room and he said, "Hey, we need to talk to you." And the HR was there. They decided to let me go, and it was really unexpected.
Sure.
But it was the best thing that ever happened to me because I immediately dropped back into detailing. And at the time, it's important for people to know you don't have to have a bunch of equipment.
No. Right.
You can have basics. And so I went and I got the basics, and I said, okay, I'm going to start my detail business again.
Wow.
So I just jumped back in.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of guys do end up in the business, especially the ones, anybody that's an enthusiast at all or likes their stuff clean, you end up inevitably learning on your own stuff and your family stuff. And it's low cost of entry, right? You start out with a typical buy it from O'Reilly's or Napa or, whatever.
Get
Walmart.
a ceramic spray from, a local.
Yeah, that's how most of us start.
I had a great call yesterday with a guy who, hadn't ever used it before and just assumed I've been doing this for a while. I don't know how to do it. And he goes, it just got cloudy and I didn't know what to do. And so I had to wax it again. And I was like, it was just, you could tell that it wasn't.
So we've all been there.
Yeah.
We've all, this is how, when you say you come from the ground up, it's because you learned by fire. We didn't have these, all these trainings and stuff. I learned by trying things and going, oh shit, that didn't work. And better figure out what does, and the customer will be here in 2 hours and I better figure something out.
Oops, I burned that edge.
Yeah, absolutely. And it happens. But that's how you truly learn. A lot of us did coming up is that's how you truly learn what not to do, what to do. Now we, obviously in our shop, we train our guys up before we get to that point, hopefully prevent some of that. It's still going to happen.
Well, that's what I told them. I mean, if that's anything you're interested in doing, you have to go get trained. I mean, if you're gonna be asking for high dollar prices, you need to be as confident as you can in your skill set and being able to explain it. And so until you've done the trainings, you really don't know. And so, he's like, I see where you're coming from. And I think he really took that as a, like his next step was,
absolutely,
all right, this is what I'm going to go do now.
And then like 20 steps from that is where we're sitting at today, around all these luxury vehicles. What kind of added pressure is there on you here versus when we're just vacuuming the mom minivan? And we refer to that as, it just kind of lumps up. I think, it's not a shot at the minivans.
It's really out of Dustin because, he's got a nice professional shop, but then, you got the outlaw detailers down the road, just a couple guys hanging out and have the green slime machine. What's his name? Like, just these Lambos or, sick exotic cars. But
what kind of added pressure is there in that?
I don't see it as an added pressure. I think it's just like cooking. If you follow the recipe and you follow the steps, the process, if you learn the right process, the process is the same.
Sure.
Whether you're working on a minivan or you're working on a Ferrari.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's paint. Or at the end of the day, it's carpet.
It's just more expensive if you mess up.
Right. Yeah. So I'm glad you brought that up.
The cooking part, because he was going to cook his lunch, right?
Yeah, lunch today.
I wanted to test those culinary
We just
skills.
left Duck's Diner for an amazing breakfast. By the way, if you're in Orange Beach and you get down this way, you got to come to Duck's Diner. Always make a trip there for breakfast. It's amazing. But so talking about burning paint. Okay. Have you had any like big? Is Mr. Jimmy around?
Yeah.
Is he seeing this thing? Well, tell us. Look, you know what? We can do this off camera. Yeah. Like, has there been any mistakes or uh-ohs or?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And
what's a good one? Give us a good one.
Oh, so
I can tell you one of mine.
The 3M vinyl, that carbon fiber stripes. They're chemically sensitive. I mean, you can just about breathe on them and they turn white.
Yeah.
And you can scratch them super easy. It was a $2,300 mistake by the time it was said and done.
Yeah.
Don't ceramic coat them.
Okay.
Don't put prep on them without diluting it.
Oh, wow.
And so I thought I was done with that vinyl once I had that problem figured out. And then Jimmy went out and bought a car with those carbon fiber stripes on it.
Oh, no. So we tape those up, or even on a wash. On a wash, we tape them.
Wow. And aren't y'all going to be carbon fiber in one of these coming up? I think Chris mentioned that.
Yeah. And that's cool. It's fun to talk about that. The guys that are watching us, we have a young, some of the people that watch this show are newer into the business. And so to hear guys that are sitting in a shop like this admit to, hey, we mess up too.
Oh, sure.
I mean, we've burned paint. I mean, it's like, it always happens when it can't happen. It's always that job.
Yep.
It never fails. And it seems to pick on one customer. Like one customer, like if it ever happens, it's like it follows that customer, not the vehicle. It can bring in anything they want, and something going to happen on that job.
Even with our extra attention, we can't let anything happen.
1,000 customers and not had any issues. And every time that customer comes in, something happens. You're like, I swear this never happens to anybody else but you. But it's the truth, And but it's cool for our audience to hear that things happen. So don't panic. It's not about what happens; it's about how you handle it afterwards.
So not only do you get to come into just the raddest, environment to do your job, absolutely incredible. Mm-hmm. We're also doing some events. I say we, as we're coming to hang out.
Yeah, you're part of it.
Yeah, we're buying sandwiches.
Yeah, we got. So tomorrow we got a big event down here for Angel Wax, and you guys are hosting it here. And I mean, this is going to be epic. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be incredible. So Rick flew all the way from Europe. Mm-hmm. We've got Tommy from Las Vegas. We've got detailers coming from all over the place to get certified on some coatings. Mm-hmm. But the great thing about it is the Angel Wax experience. Mm-hmm. So they're going to take every product from top to bottom and do 2 days of training.
Wow.
So whether it's just washing a car, techniques on that, it's a chance to ask a lot of questions. There's some industry experts coming from some other.
Us. Oh no!
Detail Bookie's going to be here in case anybody needs software.
Yeah, that's right. But you were mentioning, I think this is where you're going, was PPG coming in to take a look at how coatings are handled after right?
Yes.
And I think that's interesting. I mean, you started this conversation, but didn't get to really finish it. But a local supplier came to me not too long ago and wanted to have a solution for the paint shops and the body shops who are having to deal with coatings after they leave our shop, something happens, and now they have to sand down. I'm sorry. They have to deal with it, and
Sure.
they want to say, what's the best process? How do we get this stuff off? And so is that what they're coming to kind of just learn a little bit more about the product? Or?
Well, I think they have a protocol that they're developing.
Okay,
It was explained to me. I haven't spoken to them personally yet, so it'll be the first time for all of us meeting them.
Awesome.
But it's a chance for us as industry folks to sit down and have a conversation with them and say, what's your take? What's your perspective? How can we help you understand what we do with ceramic coatings, and how can we help your clients, the body shops and collision centers, figure out, well, how do we knock that coating down enough so they can blend the paint in? And if we have that conversation, then we can build a rapport and maybe help guide that protocol.
Well, and that's what has to happen, because I've heard it back even in my shop is, I don't want to have my car coated because my cousin works at a body shop and he says it's the worst thing ever. If I wreck my vehicle, I can't fix it. I can't touch it, blah, blah, blah. So it's these myths, and then you have the dealerships that are selling the ceramic that may or may not, depending on the dealership. We work for a bunch of them, but and we do traditional coatings for dealerships, but then there's other dealerships that do the not so traditional coatings and sell them just like they were. So these conversations need to have even outside of the detailing industry, but the surrounding industries to openly communicate so we can get rid of the myths. Let's call it what it is. And, we can have our customers can have confidence in what they're buying from us.
Sure.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we've talked.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we'd be doing an injustice if we didn't actually show the shop off.
Absolutely.
What do you think?
I think we should definitely show them around. I'd love to take Tony and meet Mr. Jimmy, and just let him tell us what this shop's about, because this is definitely a unique experience. I know my jealousy's through the roof, Ryan. You haven't stopped smelling since you
I'm
got
telling
here.
you, dude, I feel like a kid in candy, so this is just amazing.
It's awesome. So let's go check it out. Let's go have a conversation with him.
Awesome.
All right, cool.
All right, so I got Mr. Jimmy here. This is your shop. This is your dream, right?
Yes, sir. It is. Absolutely.
Well, look, we'd be doing our audience a disservice if we didn't show them around some of your pride and joy, and just tell us what's going on here.
Well, I retired about 3 years ago.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sold a business. I decided, I've always been a car enthusiast.
Yes, sir.
So I decided I'm going to start collecting some cars. It just wasn't meant for you to be around your wife 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Okay, I'm listening.
So,
I'm taking notes.
Taking notes.
Yes, sir.
And you need a place to go.
Yes,
you need
sir.
Plan B.
Okay.
So this is my Plan B.
Well, hang on. I have a plan B, but it doesn't look like this at
It
all.
don't?
No, my little wood shop is, you could probably put 10 of my wood shops in this place.
I don't
But
believe
that's
that.
okay. No, this is, it's beautiful. And man, what a place to go. You're not actually roughing it out here. You've got it going on. So show us a little bit around. You want to show us some of the cars?
Sure,
maybe?
absolutely.
Yeah. I'll let you lead the way.
Okay, absolutely. Come on. This is a 2019
Yes, sir.
Ferrari 488 Spider.
Mhm.
I bought this about 2 years ago.
Okay.
It's got about 700 horsepower. It goes from 0 to 62 in 2.7 seconds, so it's pretty fast.
Now, do you know
It's
that
not very
personally?
fast,
Have you
it's
been told that? I gotta ask. I mean, do you know that personally, or did you get told that? You get in this thing and drive it?
Yes, I did.
There we go.
I did
There we
drive
go.
it.
Okay. I wanna
And
make
it's true. It will.
So Tony, part of your job here is to keep these things clean, keep them maintained,
It is.
coat them, polish, whatever it needs. These are your babies too, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And
Yes,
this
sir.
one was coated originally by your shop.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
the Easy End did this coating. I found out what the coating was,
Yeah.
and I contacted System X
Yeah.
at the time, and so that's what we've maintained this car with. And so we've topped it up, we've recoated it, and we've
Yes, it's
just
beautiful.
kept it the way that you
Looks
left
great.
it.
So I got to ask you, do you ever get to get behind the wheel of these things? I mean, does he
Sure.
let you get in them and run them some?
Sure.
Nice.
You have to drive them. You can't leave them sitting.
No,
They're legal.
right, yeah.
It does.
Awesome. Well, keep showing us, man. This is so
Okay,
cool.
absolutely. Yeah. The next one is a 1934.
Yes, sir.
This is a Ford. It's got a 350 horse racing engine in it. I bought this down in Florida from a retired lawyer down there. He's a good friend of mine now.
Absolutely
And
beautiful.
this thing's won about 50 trophies
No
in
kidding.
the last 15 years.
So you bring that up. Are you guys actually going out to
Yes,
shows?
absolutely.
Tony, do you go with them?
Yes,
lot?
sir.
And so you get them show ready once they're there?
Absolutely.
And I stay on them all day long. We've built a reputation in the past 2 years of pulling in first place.
This is the last trophy we
No kidding.
won. And
30 minutes.
22, see,
Yeah, yes,
we
sir.
come in first.
So we're not looking for third. We're not looking for a pat on the back. We're going for
No.
first. I love it.
All right.
Yeah. I just noticed these are lifts that they're sitting on.
Absolutely.
Pick them up. You could park cars
Yes.
under like you got over
That's
here.
right, just like that.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
All right, let's
Yeah.
keep walking if you got
All right.
if you don't
All right.
mind.
This is a 2013
Mhm.
Corvette anniversary special. It's a 60th anniversary special. It's got 638 horsepower. It's got about 20,000 miles on it, but it's in excellent shape.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
bought it from the same guy that owns this 34. I bought 3 cars from him. I got a Plymouth also, a 1963 Plymouth. Right now it's being painted.
Yes, sir.
It normally sits right there.
That's its home.
It's
over here.
coming back next week, I believe. But
So
it's one of the first muscle cars to come out of the factory in
Really?
1963.
wow.
Got a
So notice the engine bay. I mean, obviously, when you talk about show cars, it is the details. And Tony,
Okay.
so you're diving deep in these things.
Sure.
I mean, it's flawless top to bottom. That's where you focus on, and you can. I mean, it's all it's always nice to make paint pretty, but details about the details, and you got to get in there. And I mean, these things look like you could absolutely eat off the engine bay. It's unreal.
And you know what the secret is?
What's that?
So Billy Bogus
Okay.
from ADG.
Oh, by the way, I'm supposed to call him back. I'm glad you said that, Billy. I'm going to call you back.
So this is a shout out to
Yeah.
American Detailer Garage. So I use the wipeout.
Oh, it's great.
So that's what we use to wipe these cars with at the
Great
shows,
stuff.
in the showroom.
Absolutely. Yeah, good guy, great products, man. That's awesome. I will call you back, Billy. All right, keep going. What we got here?
This is a real special
This is
here.
beautiful.
It's a 1937 Ford. This come in number 2 in the world.
Wow.
In 2015.
No
It was one of the grade 8 cars. They pick grade 8 cars every year.
kidding. Okay.
Every year they come out with 8 cars and they pick 1, 2, 3 out of that.
Yes, sir.
This will come in
This is
number
number
2.
That's
Okay.
unbelievable. So I noticed a sign here, Mr. Jimmy, and I'm sorry I didn't mean to interrupt.
Sure.
It says "Do not touch," and I think so. As detailers, we know why we're asking customers not to touch, not to lean on, and stuff like that. But what happens? I mean, it's obviously fingerprints and scratching and stuff. I mean, this is high end stuff, and
Yes.
to run a belt buckle across it, or even your hands. I
That's
mean, you
correct.
can,
That's
if
correct.
dust is on it, it can scratch very easily.
And a lot of people
Sure.
don't know that.
They don't.
They don't.
They don't.
know
They
that.
the first it was
They'll
pretty.
come up here and
and they-
open the door, get in the car, and they'll scratch it with
Yes,
their
sir.
buckle or something like that. They
Yeah.
just don't know.
yeah.
So that's the reason I put the signs.
So
out.
Tony, are you cringing when people are walking around? I mean, are
You know, sometimes if people have been drinking a little too much and they open a door and decide to sit in the car, I get a little bit nervous.
Sure.
But like a car like this has been in hot rod magazines. This is
Wow.
a very well-known car. It was built in around 2000. The
that's incredible.
undercarriage looks immaculate. It looks as good as the engine.
Sure,
But the thing is, we have to protect the legacy of the car.
absolutely.
So we have to keep it in the best shape possible.
Well, I can't think of a better home for it. I mean, you guys are definitely doing justice for it here. I mean, it's I mean, it's in excellent shape, and I tell you, these things look good. So keep on walking around if you don't mind. Let's check the rest of them out.
Okay, this is just a Jeep I had built down in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, but this is not just a Jeep. This may be just a Jeep to you, but it's not just a Jeep to me. No, this thing is absolutely
South Florida
awesome.
Jeeps built this.
Yes.
South Florida Jeeps built it for me. You go down there and you pick out all the stuff you want, and they put it on there.
Well,
So I've had this for about 2 years. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy it.
So you actually drive some of these. I mean, this
I
isn't just,
drive
these
every
aren't
one
garage
of them.
babies.
I don't buy anything I can't drive.
So I love that.
Yeah.
You know, and you
Yeah,
can
I
get
don't
in
put
it
them just for on display.
And that's the time. So you're trying to get away from the wife to come here, but you can go pick her up in one of these and take her around. That's the wife.
My wife's not a car person, so.
Oh, really? So she don't really get it.
Point A to point B.
Yes, sir.
Kind of
At
person.
least you can get there pretty quick.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap it up over here, but I mean, the traditional Corvette. Tell us a little bit about this one.
This is the 2023. I just got it about 4 days ago.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I ordered it in June. It come in a few days ago, so I'm very pleased with it. It's a Z51. It's not a Z06.
So Tony, have you got your hands on it yet? Or?
So this training this weekend is going to be really special. So
hold on, you're kidding me. Y'all are training on this thing? Like
yeah.
Oh,
So this
man.
came off the transport. It hasn't been washed.
Okay.
We haven't done anything to it.
Yes, sir.
It's dirty. And when I talked to the trainers from Angel Wax, they said, listen, leave it the way it is.
Oh, of course.
We're going to go from top to bottom. We're going to do a whole prep wash on it, and then it's going to get prepped. It's going to get polished and ceramic coated.
Man, I tell you, this is awesome. And what an awesome place for Angel Wax to be able to do their trainings, and couldn't ask for better people. Thank you for having us over.
Absolutely.
We have, of course, we have our Hacker Hack. Ryan, you want to go ahead and introduce us to our Hacker Hack?
Well, actually, I wanted to introduce you to the guys from Angel Wax.
Okay.
First, just real quick, since we was over here just kicking it, I figured we might as well say what's up to Mr. Rain. We got Rick over here, and of course,
everybody knows Tommy.
Yeah,
Everybody knows Tommy. Yeah.
So you guys get down here tomorrow. Check us out. For all y'all local detailers, you don't want to miss this.
That's right.
Now, what time is it, Ethan?
All right. That's correct.
Or hack.
And this is going to be our first live Hacker Hack. So
Okay, so wait a minute. We're doing Hacker Hack, but it's not Chris doing this? Hang on, I'm so confused.
no, because I didn't want, look, we were already putting water spots on it. It hurt my heart, and I wasn't sure how this was going to happen, but now we're going to actually see how to get rid of it.
All right.
What are we doing today, Tony?
Well, when he first walked in, I had a heat gun, and I was actually making water spots on the windows just so we had something a little extra to deal with.
Sure.
Just to kind of simulate what we deal with in this environment down here in the South, especially. We have hard water. This is city water. It's unfiltered.
Mm-hmm.
We put it on the window, and we're just going to try to remove these water spots. But the way I prefer to do it, once again, I use a little bit of wipeout. I have a couple different things here. I'll clean the glass first, just with any glass cleaner is fine. I always go least aggressive to most aggressive. So I'm going to use, this is a 4/0 steel wool. It's a really fine steel wool. You can find this in any auto parts store, any hardware store. Most detailers probably already know this trick.
Well, and that's the beauty of the Hacker Hack. Like, we try to address it from, the simplest of things all the way to the super complex. So this is perfect in that. And you mentioned the glass cleaner. We use the glass cleaner to see if they're going to come off with just glass cleaner. Like, that's the least aggressive, right? And so, you don't always just go to the toolbox and grab a steel wool when you see a water spot. Some of them just wipe off.
Yeah.
And Dustin, I know you were worried about it, messing up the window tint, but that's on the inside, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it wasn't a shrinking tent.
Yeah, right.
All right, so we're going to take some water spots off.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. We got listeners, so we got to have to tell them how we're doing it.
All right, so I'm just using a little bit of glass cleaner.
Yeah, he folded the towel up. That's something that detailers should pay attention to, because that creates 8 different sides to the towel, and it allows you to know where you're at. And there's particular ways you can hold them. Matter of fact, I think Ian out at Auto Fiber, they actually sell a towel now that's numbered on the corners,
They
so
do.
you know which quarter or which eighth you're using. But Marcus at IGL showed me a really cool trick, and it's the way you hold it with your thumb, and that tells you where to fold it around, and that will let you know which quarter to use. Not to interrupt you there, I just
No, you're
thought
okay.
it was really cool that you grabbed it up that way and wanted to explain it.
Yep. All right. So most of them came off because we actually manufactured these water
these.
spots. There are some small ones that are etched in. It may be hard to see. This window has a few as well. I think that were kind of etched in a little bit. This one isn't as bad as a lot of them I see. People that go through car washes and just drive out of the car wash straight into the sun, they don't care. And they're not going to chamois it off. They're not going to try to dry it with a microfiber towel. Those are the worst. They really etch into the glass.
So speaking to that's where a lot of the water spots can come from. Car washes, under sprinklers, a lot. Just anywhere hard water can sit on this, and then the sun just bakes it, and the minerals that are in the water just literally etch into the glass. They mark the glass. It just doesn't come off the glass cleaner.
We might have should have done my car because I did run it through the car wash. Like I didn't want to show.
It was so clean. I'll tell you this. It was so clean. I didn't think it was your car. I was like, that's not Ryan's car for sure.
Well, I definitely wasn't going to show up here without something, but I know I got some work to fix it.
As far as the if we have to get to steel wool, though, before we get there, obviously, we're going to try glass cleaner. There's still some water spots in here. If we want to get this window completely clean, completely clear, before we get to this, sometimes I'll use, I'm going to turn it around backwards, but but any kind of water spot remover that is going to be like a weak gel acid. There's a lot of them on the market. They all work pretty good.
They do.
Vinegar.
Vinegar works really good.
You can dilute this. You can use it straight. It's acetic acid. It's 5%. Usually sometimes 5 or 6%. I keep it in the detail shop. It's old school, but it works.
We use a ton of it around our shop. One thing to note when using acidic, and I know you already know this, but make sure you're neutralizing afterwards because it can continue to etch. So when we talk about acidic cleaners and stuff like that, just for the newer guys that are watching, I can tell you that it's one of those things that you may want to keep a heads up on, because that's one of those uh-ohs that you leave it on there too long or whatever, you can be dealing with more issues.
Yep. So anything acidic, you're going to go alkaline to neutralize. In this case, it looks like I don't have my wipeout. Someone came and got it because they were detailing a car.
I will send Ryan to get it. Ryan's not doing anything.
So we're just gonna do a little hack.
Sure.
So if I'm gonna use acid with steel wool,
okay,
it's gonna react. If I use an actual heavier acid, or if I just use a weak acid, it is going to start to heat up a little bit when it reacts with the metal. It's also going to deposit some of this fine metal onto the glass.
Yep.
So it's important for me. I'm using a towel that I can throw away.
That's right. Yeah, because you grab that towel up after you've done a correction and drag it down the paint, and now you've really ruined a lot of work. So, it's these little things. This is a hack inside of a hack, right? So using a towel that you throw away because of those things is important.
And I learned the hard way.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think we all do.
All right. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some straight vinegar. And this is just a weak acid. I'm not worried about this cross-contaminating, but just throw this away. Do yourself a favor. So there's a few water spots here. So we're just going to kind of take this. I wanted this to be moist enough so we're not going to scratch the glass. Right. And sometimes I can even use a little bit of glass cleaner on here just as a lubricant. I also use American Detailer Garage Wipeout, and I kind of dilute it down like a clay lubricant.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's a lot like clay bar. You definitely want to lubricate it because at the end of the day, it is metal. Metal on glass inevitably can scratch. So you want to give yourself a slick surface.
And so I'm just going to do one little section. I cross hatch, but I also tape off any piano plastics. This plastic's hammered, but I'm still going to tape everything off just because I don't want to scratch this with the steel wool, because then I'm going to be polishing. And you can kind of see some of the etched in water spotting. Once it's wet, you can see it a little bit better sometimes. So sometimes there's stuff hidden on the glass, and we're going to do a polishing stage later on. We won't do it right now, but we'll do a polishing stage on that as well.
But the steel wool's removing some of that lighter spotting, and some of it's etching too, but it's definitely removing the lighter stuff. So it is a fix But some of this that's been on there for, that's deeper and's been on there for longer times. Obviously, the steel wool is a little bit beyond it.
And these are just your junk towels.
Yep.
They're not expensive towels.
Sure.
This is stuff that I want to be able to throw away. So that's basically what I do. If I have to work up to something more aggressive, in this case, I'm looking at the glass, and I can see that some of those water spots that didn't come off with the glass cleaner came off with the weak acid.
Absolutely. And then this, it depending on what the customer's expectations are, it may be a situation where that's good enough. It's all about what the customer really wants out of this thing, to how far you go. So we want it, as detailers, we want it perfect. Oh, I can get this perfect. But sometimes you say, I just need it better. I don't have the budget. I don't want to spend that money on it. I just want it a little better. And you grab the steel wool and it does it perfect.
So you're telling me, Dustin, in the perfect situation, what's that situation?
Oh, okay. So if you find yourself in the middle of the woods,
Stranded.
all you have is some glass. It's got to have water spots.
That's right.
Steel wool and some wipeout.
Wipeout.
I wasn't
If
going to
you're
miss
not
a
traveling
chance.
with wipeout, guys.
Yeah, what are you really doing? You could absolutely get most of those water spots out with a steel wool. This hack is confirmed. All right, guys, listen, that's going to wrap it up. Tony, we really appreciate you letting us hang out around your shop. It's absolutely beautiful. You got a great thing going on here, man.
The community is lucky to have you, sir.
Absolutely.
I'm glad y'all stopped by.
We got a big show lined up for you next week. Do you know who's on, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. So next week we actually have our competitor in a sense.
Oh,
actually,
this is stiff competition.
I don't know. They're sponsored. So until we get that Manscaped sponsorship level deal,
it's like you could use it a little bit.
Hey, Manscaped, holler at me. So Alex Russell is going to be joining us next week, and he's with the Detailer Solutions podcast. Yep. And we're just going to chop it up.
Awesome, man. It's going to be a great show. Appreciate everybody. Appreciate Mr. Jimmy for letting us come in here and Tony showing us around. We'll see you next week. Peace.